Hello, and welcome back to the Test Drive Podcast, brought to you by Sport Car USA. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. Here at Sport Car USA, we love all things fast. From stock Corvettes to tuned-up Hellcats, we love it all. So buckle up and come for a ride on this week's episode of Test Drive. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another Test Drive podcast. I'm your host, Lee Bodette. I'm the host of Test Drive on the YouTube channel. Been a radio broadcaster for over 40 years and, of course, a car enthusiast my entire life. It's good to be back with you. Also back with us today is Scott Nickerson. Scott, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
Scott and I both work for Sport Car USA. Now, what is Sport Car USA? I thought we'd delve into that a little bit. Sport Car USA is a vehicle where we buy and sell American muscle cars throughout the country and beyond. I know we've told the Australia story before where we had a Corvette, a specific Corvette that this guy's been looking for years, and Sport Car USA had it. We shipped it to Australia. Can't tell you how long it took to get there. I know they put it on the boat.
It was a process.
Yeah, it was about 2-3 months.
I remember I was trying to coordinate getting an interview with the guy just because it's so cool. And it is not an easy thing to import vehicles and ship them across the world and put them on a freight.
I just wanted to hear the person's accent.
Yeah. Yeah, they were 12 hours. It's a 12-hour, 12 or 13-hour time difference or something. So it was literally impossible. Just complete opposite schedules, and unfortunately, we never got to chat with him.
Maybe we can sell another sport car to the Gecko on Geico. Yeah. Right? That's the way we'll get the accent.
Yeah.
But Sport Car USA, it's a lot of fun. And I'm kind of like the face of Sport Car USA. I do a lot of broadcasting, different events. And today we're going to talk about some of the events that we've done in the past, also some of the events that are coming up in the future. What does Sport Car USA do in the fall and the winter when most people don't even want to see a sport car? And I'm talking like dealerships. If you have like a sport car, Challenger, Mustang, Camaro, what have you, you go into a dealership in October and they're going to look at you like you have two heads or maybe even four heads and say, we don't want that thing. Winter. We're based in St. Albans, Vermont, so we're in northern Vermont. Yeah. And we're pretty close to the border too.
We get heavy winter, and the last thing you want is, driving your $60,000 sports car on roads covered in salt and rusting out the frame or catching rock chips.
Yeah. It's nasty.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Put them away.
But a lot of people, they don't have storage, so that's a concern. Things happen in people's lives, as you know. I always say to people when they get rid of a sport car, and they're younger than me, maybe they're starting a family, just for an example. I tell them you will always get your puppy back. You will always get your baby back because you got to go through life, have some kids, they grow up, and guess what? Next thing you know, you get that prized possession back.
Yeah, we had a story where a guy sold his sports car when he had the same thing, started a family, and somehow it got to someone else and ended up in our possession. And then the same guy bought his same exact car back from us a bunch of years later once all the kids moved out. He couldn't believe it that it was so close to home. He lived in our area and found the exact car that was his.
That's amazing.
He was one of the previous owners, and he bought it back. And
love stories
like that. And you
Absolutely.
can't make that stuff up. You just stumble upon it and
absolutely. So what happens is people will sell us their sport cars because we are eager to gain a number of sport cars. We want to buy sport cars all year long, particularly during the fall and winter, because that's when people want to get rid of them. We have a warehouse at a secret location, and we store the sport cars all set for the spring and summer months ahead. However, we do sell sport cars during the winter as well. All you have to do is go to sportcarusa.com, and you can check out the entire inventory, right?
Yep. Yeah, we sold quite a few. There was someone who drove up in like January and bought a Charger and drove it home. Luckily, I'm sure there was still salt on the roads. There definitely was. Here, they drove like 4 or 5 hours. They drove it home.
Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive, had like street tires on it, so it's not like there's a lot of traction.
That's kind of hard for me to stomach when I see a beautiful sport car out here in the Vermont or New England, northern New York weather. It's like, what are you doing, man? Come on, you're killing me.
Right. We talked about in last week's episode. We talked
did.
about the guy who drives his Corvette year round.
Yeah, doctor. I guess he can afford it.
Yeah, just buy a new one. It's
Yeah,
fine. If the frame rusts
absolutely.
out, it's fine.
But is it going to be, revealed that this car has been in the salt and the brine? If it's Sport Car USA, we will reveal that, of course. But if he sells it to Joe Blow down the street, is he going to say anything like, "Yeah, I drive this in the winter too. The C8, it's beautiful."
He must wash it, right? Like
Yeah.
right as soon as it gets home, he must crawl under there and get every nook
Oh
and
my
cranny.
goodness! Yeah, maybe he has a power washer.
It hurts.
And a lift.
Right? He must. You have to. It
Yeah,
hurts to
yeah.
see it.
I got to tell you, we are in April here in northern Vermont, and the sport cars have been flying out the door. It's
Yeah.
been a sight to be seen the last probably, I guess, like 3 weeks. What are some of the cars we've been selling here?
Yeah, we can't hold on to them. I know you had the chance to actually personally sell a really rare Challenger that we had.
Yeah, I did. It was on our showroom floor. It was a 22 Challenger Scat Pack. But what was unique about it was the color. It was indigo blue. And from what I understand, there are only 24 of those made in the country back in 2022. That was just a year ago. One of 24, this guy bought it. He traded in a 2012 Challenger, has always loved Challengers, Challenger nut, and there he goes with a brand new, really, essentially, it had like 703 miles.
Yep.
He's got a very rare Challenger Scat Pack, and he is one happy camper.
Yeah, it probably had one season on it. And
Yeah.
for our purposes, selling them, they're even if we buy them off a showroom floor from another dealer, they're at that point they're a used vehicle because we have to be I think we're an owner of them technically. But, we've got lots of stuff that's pretty much brand new.
Yeah, and of course, you're going to get the factory warranty, the remainder of
Right.
the factory warranty. As far as Sport Car USA goes, we can only put a 30-day warranty on it, 1,000 miles, whichever comes first, 50-50. But you shouldn't have to worry about that when you buy a newer vehicle at Sport Car USA. The older vehicles, there's a bit of a challenge. Most people that will buy an older vehicle are not worrying about financing because that could be a problem if you're looking at a 2008 Camaro. How do you finance a 2008 Camaro? Most banks won't touch it.
Yeah, we had a guy from New Hampshire recently come by the 2012 GT500. He drove, I think he was like pushing 5 hours away, came up and bought a beautiful red GT500 with the white stripes.
I had one.
I know, it was sitting right next to you in the showroom too.
Right next
How
to
did that
me.
feel?
It was like a carbon copy of the one that I owned. In 2011, this GT500 came out, this particular style, and had a convertible. That's the one that I had. One of the dealers locally gave me a call. He knows I buy cars all the time. I'm a caraholic, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You just got to come down here and look at this car." I told him, I said, I can't buy another vehicle right now.
And if you look at that, you're not.
Yeah, I don't want to trade.
You're gonna get it.
I think I had a Mustang GT500 at the time, and I said, I'm not trading. I'm very happy. He says, "Just come on down, Lee. Come on down and take a look at it. It's only 40 minutes away." So sure enough, I went down there.
That's how they get you.
And he got me. He got me GT500 in beautiful red. It's got like an orange tint to it, doesn't it?
It depends on the lighting, but in the sun, it's nice and bright.
Right. And I remember he said, "You want to go gas it up yourself?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And I
he's
drove it to
good.
the gas station. This is a place in Hardwick, Vermont, which is very rural. Of course, most of Vermont is rural. But this place was very rural, and I drove it to the gas station, and you would think that I was a rock star celebrity going on and on. People were stopping and just gawking because it was a new model, and it was
Right.
very bright and very new. Nobody had seen one before. It was fun.
It's a good salesman. He made you go feel like there was a parade for you.
Yeah. Well, the funny story is, whenever I get a car like that, I try to doctor it up. I don't like changing the car too much because I like to keep it factory.
Just personalize it.
Yeah, personalize it a little bit. So I bought these engine caps. They come in a kit, and they replace like the washer fluid cap and the oil filler cap.
Yep.
Very nice looking. You saw them, right?
Yeah.
They cost $600. for a bunch of caps.
What color were they?
They were like red. They weren't an exact match. They were not an exact match to the color of the car,
But
very
close.
close. And they said GT500 on them. Very, very nice, handmade,
Yep.
etc.
Adds a nice pop to the
It
engine.
really does.
Makes
And
it look good.
again, it was $600. So when I got the caps back in 2011, I put one on and I said, you know what? It's not the exact color of the GT500's color. So I called the company. I said, it's not a match. So I want to send them back. And they said, have you used them? I said, no. I said, I put one cap on and took it off. Well, that's considered used, sir. They
Oh,
would
wow.
not take the caps back.
That's frustrating.
The moral of the story is now in 2023, we sold that 2012 GT500 with 9,000 miles on it.
Yep, something like that.
I sold the engine caps to my boss here at Sport Car USA for $250. We put them on the GT500. So now I have $250 in my pocket after 12 years.
Oh,
Didn't
there you
even
go.
think anything of it. Those caps have been in my garage in a container. But it was like the matching car. It was perfect.
Yeah, well, that worked out for that guy, I guess.
That worked out very, very well.
Not for you, but that's okay.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the shows that we've done. Sport Car USA is only about 2 years old, going into our third year, really, because we do operate 12 months out of the year. Some of the things that we've done, some of the events that we've been to, including Cars and Coffee. That is
Yep.
a great event on a Saturday, third Saturday of each month, I
I
believe.
believe so.
Early in the morning, 7 to
fun.
9 only. They keep it real simple.
Yeah, it's nice because it's casual. You just go, and Cars and Coffee, they have them all over the country. So it's nice having them in Vermont too, because like you said, you can't drive our sports cars certain months of the year, but there's still a huge sports car enthusiast group in Vermont.
Cars and Coffee, they're all over the country. They've really picked up a lot of steam.
Yeah.
And what's nice about these Car and Coffee events is it's not about putting Sport Car USA in your face.
Yeah.
It's about being there, talking with the others that have shown up with their vehicles, or even the people that are looking at the cars, and just getting a feel. They want to
Yeah.
talk about their vehicles. They're excited. Every car that somebody brings in is special to them.
Right. And we love sports cars here, so it's always fun to talk to the people in our community.
You really want to hear the stories.
Yeah.
Because there are some good ones.
Yep.
There's some boring ones, but some of them are really good.
Yeah. And it's you see some weird stuff there
You do.
because people will buy something that you wouldn't expect, and then they modify the heck out of it and they make something cool out of it.
And as long as they aren't burning out and causing
Yeah.
a scene, because that has happened at some of these events,
That
it's
can ruin
okay.
it.
I don't care about whether this car doesn't seem to fit here. If you're proud of your car, it's special to you, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can afford a Lamborghini
Right.
or a Corvette. They might have a Mazda that's souped up.
Yeah.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. Let's have some fun with everybody.
Yeah. It's just about, engaging with people and seeing what everyone's working on.
Exactly. So what are some of the other events that we went to this past year, Scott?
Well, of course, we host our own events, but outside of those, which we'll come back to, we've gone to a bunch of local car shows in Swanton, and I guess it's not Stowe anymore, it's Waterbury.
Yeah, this is all in Vermont.
Yep. There's Waterbury, Vermont. There's a bunch of classic car shows that we go to. It's not exactly our wheelhouse, but as far as what we sell, but it's all still part of the same world. But we've gone to so many, and Lake George was a huge one last year.
Yeah, that was a lot
So
of
fun.
fun. There's a slogan in Vegas, which they don't use anymore. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happened in Lake George last year is going to stay there, Scott.
Yeah.
We can't reveal too much about it.
No. We got lots of good burnout videos, though.
We were at a biker's bar that we didn't even know about. We did have fun.
Honorary member.
Yeah, so we're going back there this year.
Yep. Not there, specifically.
No, not
And we won't
that,
go
not
there
that
again.
particular bar, but a lot of cars. There were hundreds and hundreds.
You can't
of
see them
vehicles.
all. I
No.
did. I was there getting footage the whole time and flying the drone around. And there was one point where had the drone up in the air, and I was like, "Oh my god, it just keeps going."
If
There's
you've
so
never
many.
been to Lake George, New York, Google it. Check it out.
Such an
because
interesting town.
It really is. It's small. It's quaint. It's cool.
And apparently in the off season, there's not, like during the fall, like winter months more so, I guess, it's dead. Apparently it's
Yes,
a ghost town.
very quiet.
It's a tourist town for sure.
But hence the name Lake George. The lake is absolutely beautiful.
I know. I'd like to get out there
Just
this year.
you can walk the entire path around the lake
Yep.
in no time at all, and they have like old diners there, things like that. So
It's
so
fun.
check that out. We do have a calendar that if you are interested in obtaining one, all you have to do is go to sportcarusa.com. Number one, you can check out the inventory of Sport Car USA, which updates daily, just about. And we do have this calendar, first version of calendar that we've ever come out with, right?
Yep.
It's beautiful, and it has pictures of beautiful sport cars, very sharp-looking sport cars. If you'd like one, all you have to do is go to that website, sportcarusa.com, and let us know, right?
Yeah, and the big reason we're doing a calendar isn't just, I mean, obviously we're giving it away, so it's not even for, making money off of it.
Yeah, it's free.
So the big thing with our calendar is Sport Car USA as a company, we really want to connect people with sports cars and with other people in the sports car communities. So the big thing with the calendar was putting on national events. We've got all kinds of Barrett Jackson events and Mecum auctions, and one that happened recently was there was actually going on in the next couple days as we record this is the National Street Rod Association has a show in California coming up. Barrett Jackson just happened. So we've got all those events on that calendar. Yeah. Which is kind of our big reason for doing it. Kind of push the word out for everything going on, and of course we have our own shows on.
Yeah, and we have contacts with the Barrett Jackson people, the Mecums, and what's the other car? Hemming.
Yep.
Hemmings.
We work with Hemmings.
We work with them as well. So just because we're based in rural northern Vermont, St. Albans, Vermont, doesn't mean that we aren't looking at this countrywide.
Big
because
picture.
we are. We have the big picture, and you'll see that on our calendars. And we are constantly interviewing people, talking to people about various sport cars that they have, vehicles that they want to sell us. Right. And that's another point. If you do have a vehicle, a sport car, American muscle car, and you want to sell it to us, just get a hold of us through our website, right?
Yep. Yeah, any contact info's on there. There's phone numbers on there. You can give us a call. And if you have a local car show, even if it's not local to us, we're happy to promote other events.
Big time. And our slogan is Vermont's Got Muscle.
We do.
We do that.
We're selling a lot of it.
Trademark Sport Car USA, Vermont's Got Muscle, so it's all good there. So what's coming up this year, Scott?
Well, for us, we have a lot of our own showcases that we do, which will be once a month. They're on Friday nights. And we just kind of get another free event. We just get the local community together, and we invite everyone out who wants to bring their sports car, show it off, hang out with everybody. Kind of as far as like, it's closer to cars and coffee than it is a car show.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's no awards. It's just people gathering, having a good time, free food, free music, and we kind of parade our top picks of our stuff, and we rev them up, and we have a good time.
Yeah, Sport Car USA does that the third Friday of every month, May through August.
Yep.
And part of Sport Car USA is their handy Toyota store, which is located in St. Albans, of course. That's where they clear the lot completely, and then we have the music, the food, the drinks, and the sport cars.
Yep.
People come from everywhere.
We have the Chevy dealership that shares a parking lot, so there might be some even brand new Camaros or Corvettes.
Right. And you'll see all these events that we're talking about on the calendar if you so choose to want one. We're going to send it to you at no charge, and it's a very, very sharp-looking calendar for sure. Our first one, too. Ooh.
Yep. Yeah, so everything's on our Facebook page, too, so we have all of our events on there, and you can check out info on there. We'll post all the recap videos as well. We usually make a video of the entire show. That way, if you can't make it, you can still be there in some capacity. But yeah, for anyone who's listening that is part of the local community and doesn't want to watch it online, feel free to come out. We're always looking for more people to come show off what they got.
I believe this is our 7th or 8th podcast, so we're just getting started here at Sport Car USA with our podcast. We do want to venture out and talk to people, but also if you have an idea for Sport Car USA's podcast, or if you just want to chat with us on a podcast, again, sportcarusa.com, get a hold of us. We'll reach out to you once we get your information, and maybe we can chat on an upcoming podcast. Another cool thing that Sport Car USA does, we have a YouTube series, and it's called Test Drive. And that's where we go out in the vehicle most of the times and go for a ride and talk about the certain vehicle that we're driving that day. We also have a green room and other available tools where we can talk about a vehicle without actually test driving that vehicle. And that's been a really huge success.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when you can't necessarily take the cars out for a cruise. And, yeah, in the winter, and it sometimes can feel like that's the sport car season is dying down. And for us, that's when a lot of stuff ramps up, even with making some entertaining content. And we get to dive into not just the car as like it being a machine that you're operating, but really like what is behind them, like what's the inspirations behind the way they designed a car, or the people behind the cars, and kind of diving into the history more.
Good example of that is the Viper that we did a podcast on a couple of weeks ago. We had that vehicle. We did a test drive episode on it as well. So that kind of tied into our podcast, which was really, really nice. Just some really interesting history on a Viper that some, probably most, didn't even know about.
Yeah, I loved working on these because there's so much about these cars that I learned that I didn't know, especially with the Viper, just because it's something that you don't really have a lot of experience with. But it's fun to dive into these and learn about them.
Yeah, so we've got the podcast. We have the test drive episodes on YouTube. We're busy, and we're constantly looking for American muscle cars to buy so we can sell them to you. So any other final thoughts on this, Scott?
I think I'm just excited that it's getting warm. We can start driving the cars around, and we got to go take some stuff for a spin soon and shoot some videos.
We will definitely do that. Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA, thank you so much for being with us today. Thanks to all of you for listening to our podcast. I'm Lee Bodette, your host, and we'll have another podcast for you probably sometime next week. We want to thank you very, very much for listening. And remember, you can participate by going to sportcarusa.com. Don't forget to get the calendar and let us know some information about you. We'd love to chat with you. And remember, let's never forget the men and women serving this great country of ours. Goodbye, everybody.